friends, happy Friday. How is everyone doing this evening? It's great to see you folks. I am just a minute or two late because I got distracted right before the show, so my apologies for that. But I hope you are all well. I have the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli, as is the tradition here on the show, and it is, of course, filled with some Haunted Bookshop, and we're going to get that lit up right now. And let's see who we have assembled so far. There's the Smooth Piper, the Urban Hermit, Paul the Piper, Patrick Grant, and White Ash Piper Squared. Good to see you guys. Signal Man Tony from Rhode Island. Benjamin Lindsay, who's about to smoke some Bob's Chocolate Flake and a billiard meerschaum. Welcome, Benjamin. Chris Weber, happy Friday to you. Kevin Doolin, Armchair Piper, my buddy Ed. How you doing tonight, Ed? Piper on the 45. Michael Case. Michael's got some rehydrated 45-year-old Balkan tobacco. Syrian Latakia is mellowed and the Orientals are smooth. Sounds like a great tasting smoke, Michael. Indeed. There's Gary Edminster. He's got his Friday Peterson with Lane 1Q. Sounds good. There's Phil Rivera. How you doing tonight, Phil? Rick Allen. Greetings to you, sir. All right, I feel like I'm possibly caught up now. There's Doug Owen. I was here, I was ready to go, and I just thought, let me just check something really fast before, and I got distracted. I forgot that I was supposed to start. So, yeah, you know, you get old enough, you start to become like the cat with the shiny thing off in the corner. Doug Owen, did I say hello to you? The cat with the shiny thing in the corner distracted me. Anyway, hello, Doug. Todd Barstow. Dry Fly Fisher 11 in a hotel room in Chicago. I hope it's a nice hotel room there, Dry Fly Fisher 11. There's Rick Allen asking if we tried Hearth and Home First Snow. Have not tried it, Rick. Not familiar with that one. Anyone else out there tried Hearth and Home's First Snow? Stanley Smith, welcome, my friend. Oh, this is a welcome pipeful. I'll tell you, I didn't have a lot of pipes today. Had to work. Had to go into work, and had to get an early start. So yeah, but it's great when I work from home. I can just sit here all day and smoke and work. But not so much when I have to go into the office. But I get to actually see people and interact with human beings, which is, you know, it's got its benefits. Also got its negatives, but, you know, such is life. Jeffrey Feinberg, did I miss you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Maybe I actually don't remember seeing you, Jeffrey, but I apologize if I missed you. Roger Jim. Not snowing here, Jim. We got a little bit of snow last weekend, not much at all, like maybe 3/4 of an inch or something, and then it rained. So it amounted to nothing. Now they're talking about Tuesday. They're already closing things for a weather forecast, for goodness sakes. So we'll see what happens. But so far it's been a pretty mild winter here. 18 degrees, says Doug Owen, and that's cold for the weather wimps out there. Well, that's cold enough. Piper X1X, hello from North Yorkshire. Great to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining us tonight. There's Neil Day. Gary Stout. Having some Mr. Christian's Raven Eye Flake and a Savinelli Mega X. Is it just me, or do we have a lot of new folks on here tonight? Which is a wonderful thing. Welcome all. Well, that's fantastic, Dry Fly Fisher. Glad it's a nice room and be very, very quiet. You don't want to wake up the family. 30 below in Colorado. My goodness, Lord Hogarth. We were in the mid to upper 40s today. We actually hit 57 yesterday. No, not yet. Ewing in southwest Michigan, they're having a blizzard. Oh, that's not good. Minus 10 degrees Celsius feels like minus 19 degrees Celsius, the Urban Hermit says. So Everett, does that mean you're going to have to wear a pair of socks with your shorts? Oh, Phil, you ordered one of those? That is interesting. I've seen them use the expansion drums. They look pretty cool. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in seeing that. Plum pudding, starting with Haunted Bookshop, finishing with plum pudding. Sounds great, Neil. Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Going to be down to 0 by morning. Oh my goodness. Keep warm, folks. You guys feeling better? I know you were feeling a little off last week. 3 to 5 inches in Arkansas. My goodness. Yorkshire doesn't evoke that pudding word, doesn't it, Doug? Kevin. Kevin coming in with a nice earworm. Six-inch diameter sanding belt. Oh, that's cool, Phil. I can't wait to see some pictures of that or maybe some video of it in action. That sounds really neat. Chris Weber's first blizzard since 2011. It's glorious. Yeah, I can imagine that, and I like weather, so I won't mind it if we get some snow, but I also don't like to be cold. But I get it, Chris, that when you're used to something, then you don't have it for a while. It's like an old friend coming back, even if it is a pain in the butt, huh? Sailor got an old Caminetto with old Joe Krantz and 15-year-old Glenn Libet on the side. Sounds great, Sailor. There's Smarty Bob. How you doing, Bob? Doug, I wasn't making fun of Everett's fashion sense. I was making fun of his ridiculous resistance to cold. Ah, glad it works, Phil. Yeah, I ordered some, sorry, folks, me and Phil are going to talk tools for a minute here. I only had paper, sandpaper. I didn't have any cloth back in 80 grit, and I wanted the big one so I did like the duct tape on the back of the thing, and it works okay, but the paper's starting to tear. But I did order some cloth back 80 grit, and I'm looking forward to trying it. So I'm glad it's working for you. The notches, that's just how I do it, so it worked out fine for me. Glad you like it. It's a good point, Dry Fly Fisher. We do tend to be very accurate with temperatures. The length of that trout I caught, not so much. Rick Allen cracked open a new tin of Windjammer. That is great stuff, and apparently hard to get now. I did not realize that was going to be a limited thing, because I would have bought a few tins. It's very nice stuff. That black ice is a real pain, Neil. Yeah, if I had my choice between a foot of snow and black ice, I'd take a foot of snow. I bet you anything ever could do the North Pole in shorts. Wow, 2007 Obsidian. That's pretty cool. Mushroom Leg, how you doing, buddy? Oh, Everett, you're gonna go with the long pants at the North Pole, huh? Ron Hardcrackers. Wind blew all the snow away before it could stick. Ah, jeez. California calibrations, 50 degrees in Northern California, and he's still cold. Well, that's cold for Northern California, isn't it? And Boulder Piper's got some black twist burning. Nice. Ronnie Ewing's not complaining. Okay. Yeah, I guess you guys are slightly shifted, aren't you, Ronnie? All right, I gotta get my beverage going here. I'm excited about this. I love that. It looks like a gingerbread man was standing next to a mud puddle when a truck went by. I don't understand it at all. This is Dirt Cake Imperial Stout. It is from Flying Fish Brewing Company. It's an Imperial Stout, and it has hints of cookie, vanilla, and rich and dark. Rich and dark what? That's about all that it says. All the information we get here. But I've had beer from Flying Fish before and enjoyed it. And I just was at the beer distributor. We have those here. Because I won't go to... Uh-oh. Eesh. They bit me. I won't go to that supermarket anymore. And the beer distributor has a better selection anyway. No, absolutely no pumpkin, Bill. The furnace is coming on, guys, so be prepared for the noise. That is interesting. Got the full can in there now. Didn't quite fit. That is interesting. I don't know if any of you guys have had the Dirt Cake Imperial Stout from Flying Fish, but it's definitely a stout. It's got like a cocoa chocolatey note to it, but it's got something sweet and almost like berry-like to it in it. It's you've ever had those chocolate-covered jellies? Like they'll be like an orange candy or a berry sort of candy, and they're covered in chocolate, like a dark chocolate. It tastes a lot like that. Really interesting. Trifle and treacle tarts. My goodness, Michael. I feel my blood sugar going up just thinking about it. Bourbon barrel beer for Neil Day tonight. HyperX1X, thank you. That's the Matches Memorial Cell 7LE. I always forget the number on this. Somebody else will tell you. Seven Ellie 62636. Orange raspberry jellies and chocolate. It was raspberry jellies, I think. Yeah, that's what I've had. I like the orange ones. When I was a kid, I used to eat them. I don't think I've had it in forever. 673. Thank you. Yeah, 673. I was close, wasn't it? I think I said 6 and then maybe a 3 somewhere. Yes, thank you, Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy. I heard from our buddy Cliff today. The Pipe Ninja is off to New Orleans. His daughter's in a cheerleading competition, and he does like to take the weather places with him. Apparently, he's going to be driving back through a blizzard. So let's keep New Orleans in prayer and hope that they can survive the Pipe Ninja. Let's pray for him to have some safe travels. You know, Kevin, that's absolutely not true because I got the email today. I saw it around lunchtime when I was at work, and I thought, oh, let me check out and buy some Haunted Bookshop in it because they got 15% off at Smoking Pipes. And they were out of 8-ounce and bulk, so it wasn't me. I did not buy it. I blamed Everett. I guess if he's trying to blame me, it must be somebody else. John Amidon, hello there, and there's Pirate Frog 333. Good to see you, Robbie. Yornik, how you doing, Yornik? Pirate Frog's got a blizzard outside. My goodness. Arancini, yes, Doug. My mother used to make a candied orange rind that was wonderful. I have no idea how she did it. She made it with orange rind and grapefruit rinds, actually. And they were quite wonderful. Stony Lawn Cottage Pipe. Are you calling this chat a little sanity? Oh my, the world's worse than I thought. I'm looking forward to it too, Phil. I can't. I really wanted to try them all before now, but I wanted to do the first smoke live, so we'll do it. Yornik, you left Kate alone with the teddy bear? If he's a good watch bear, you're okay. Weird couple of weeks there, Pirate Frog. Home. So he thinks the rind would make a person sick. No, this was, I mean, we ate a lot of it when I was a kid. Nobody ever got sick from it. I think she would, like, just cook it in, like, sugar water. And then it would dry and the sugar would crystallize on the outside of it. But I don't actually know how she would do it. Oh, I don't know about that, Phil. Hello, John. Good to see you, buddy. A lot of names I haven't seen before tonight. I don't know what happened. Somebody somewhere must have said something. She might have boiled them first, Michael. I have no idea what the process was. But I'm sure if you looked up, I was going to say pickled. Don't look up pickled orange rinds. I don't think that would be very good. If you look up candied orange rinds, no, Phil, it was orange and grapefruit rinds. Yeah, that would be good, Doug. That would definitely be good. The bittersweet combination there. I don't mind pork rinds white ash squared, but I don't want them covered in chocolate. I don't think I do. Pirate Frog's got some golden slice from Orlick in a Dr. Graybo Omega. Very nice. Yornick's saying you got to scrape off the white stuff from the rind before you make anything because that's where the bitter is. I can't imagine my mom scraping the white stuff off, Yornick. She just wasn't that careful of a cook, so maybe she did, but similar to marmalade. Yeah, Phil, that's a good point. It's kind of like portable marmalade. Oh, poem, that sounds terrible. I knew carrots were poisonous. I've been telling my wife for years carrots are poisonous. I've never liked carrots because that's just a color that I don't think you're supposed to eat. Andrew Sirigliano, happy Friday, my friend. John Abaddon's a new pipe smoker and liking it. Fantastic. Well, very happy to have you here and very happy to have you amongst the pipe smoking family, John. Pork rind merchant on the side of the road selling keto snacks. There you go. They are definitely ketogenic or agreeable with the ketogenic diet, and they even grind them up to make breadcrumb-like things out of them. Yeah, you got to be careful with grapefruit on any meds because it can inhibit one of the major metabolic enzymes in the liver that is responsible for metabolizing a lot of medications. So there's quite a few medications that if you're on them, you can't eat grapefruit. Otherwise, you wind up getting a much higher dose of the medication than you normally would. Something's wrong here. I got a bit of tobacco. Oops. Bit of tobacco in the airway. Bill likes carrots in stew or raw. Yeah, I can do that. I just don't like them raw. You got a birthday coming up, Robbie? Well, happy early birthday, my friend. New Captain Black Carrot. Good one, Dry Fly Fisher. I was not expecting that. Oh, I got it cleared. I also got a mouthful of ash doing it. Yeah. Fortunately, I have some chocolate-covered raspberry beer. I don't want to misrepresent this. This says absolutely nothing about berry or raspberry or any fruit. I'm just telling you what I'm detecting here. Yeah, it's a real thing, Pullman. And for some, I mean, those of you that know me or have listened to me babble enough know that I'm in the neuroscience field, and medications that are used in psychiatry in particular are very prone to that problem. So most people that are on psychiatric medications cannot eat grapefruit. But there's others that, as Phil pointed out, some of the heart meds. Oh God, Doug, her fingernails turned orange? Ugh. That's too many carrots for sure. Great question, Chris Weber. Chris is another new pipe smoker. Great to have you, Chris. Asking if anybody's got a system for keeping track of which tobaccos they've tried and liked. And I gotta tell you, Chris, I tried that over the years, and nothing ever worked better than just a notebook for me, and I honestly didn't keep it up anyway, so I don't have any suggestions other than Kevin Doolan saying a small journal. That's the best I can think of. Why'd you get in trouble, Ed? Yeah. I don't know what is wrong with this. I just got another mouth. You know what? I think I'm done with the Matches Memorial Friday Sabanelli tonight. Something went wrong with the way this was packed towards the end, and we're just gonna cut our losses with that. It was my fault, not the fault of the pipe. Something in the way I packed it was bad. I was hurrying, rushing, because somebody forgot they were doing a show. 9 out of 10 rabbits agree. Cherry Davy once again saying hello to fellow goblins, giving me Eldritch flashbacks. And yes, Michael Case, that old grapefruit squirting in the eye, that was a, what's the word I'm looking for? Trope in silent movies, and a great one. Pumpkin orange, that's a beautiful looking tan there, Phil. Yes, Paul the Piper is responsible for our lights staying on here. By the way, Paul, I think the furnace needs a little adjustment. It's been running a little too much. Oh, the old oyster, the stew gag from the studios. That's a classic, Doug, for sure. For sure. I want to mention, and we're going to get on to the tobacco of the week in a minute, but I finished up the Haunted Bookshop a little early, so we'll take a little pause here. Oh, good, pause on that furnace thing, so we'll hopefully hear that less often now. I really do appreciate you, Paul. Thanks for what you do. My buddy Poem suggested a movie, and I'm going to murder this, but the name of the movie is Sisu, Sisu. And I watched it this past week, and my goodness, what a movie that was. I don't know if any of you have seen this. I had never heard of it until Poem said, check it out. It took place during World War II. It was about a Finn, a man from Finland, Lapland actually, who was in the army, the Finnish army, fighting against the Russians, and then the Russians formed a pact with the Finns, and they had to force the Nazis out. And I don't want to give away too much, but my goodness, this thing was a ride. And I have to admit, at times it was a bit ridiculous, but it was action-packed. It kept you on the edge of your seat the whole time. Really well made, beautifully filmed, incredible, gory. It had a lot of gore in it, because it was war gore, not like slasher film, but people getting shot, people stepping on landmines, things of that nature. But my goodness, I highly recommend that movie, and thank you so much for recommending it, Poem. It was thoroughly enjoyable. Armchair Piper, you saw it? It really something. It's a good point, Andrew. I don't have a smart furnace, do I? Kevin, if I wanted to be what's the word I'm looking for? Snarky about it, I could describe it as a World War II version of John Wick, definitely. But it's better than that. It really was it was a good story, not a complex story, but a good one. And yeah, again, I recommend it. Oh, white ash, that's not good. Broken furnace and at 18 degrees. My goodness. Hope you get that fixed pretty soon. Tarkovsky's Stalker. I have not seen that, Yornik. I think you did do the oyster last week, Doug. I vaguely remember it. Didn't that get us onto the Owl and the Pussycat? Bill, I don't think that's at all true, but I like it. That's a fantastic origin of that word. Yeah, dry fly fisher. The way they defined it is it's a word that can't be translated into English. It can't be translated, but there's no word that's comparable to it. But it means the movie actually referred to it as white knuckle determination in the face of, a hopeless situation. T-34 is another good one. Tank movie. I'll put that on the list, Boom. Andrew, I don't know if I'm going to any of the upcoming fly fishing shows. I am going to the Midwestern Tool Collectors Association meeting on the last weekend in January. But I haven't been planning for any of the fly fishing shows. Just hasn't been in the cards for me this year. Yornik is saying to watch Stalker. Heartbreakingly beautiful and sad, but in a tender sort of way. An immense movie. Okay. We'll put that one on the list too, Yornik. WKR Piper in Cincinnati. How you doing, Odie? Great to see you, buddy. And Odie is John Wood. The Potemkin is a great Russian silent movie, says Michael Case. I'll definitely have to look for that. Rocky IV is the best Russian war movie, in Mushroom Leg's opinion. There we go. All right, so let's move on to the tobacco of the week. I know it's a little early, but that's okay. We'll supplement with some more Haunted Bookshop at the end if need be. So we were working through the Boxo tobacco, and I still got a couple of jars of that to go through, but I got a set of samples in the mail from my buddy Phil Rivera, and I've been looking forward to trying these, and these kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, but they kind of follow on from some of the Lakeland fun that we had towards the end of last year, although Phil swears that these are not going to kill me or make me disappointed that I try them. So we got 3 to choose from. Phil kindly sent me 3 samples, and I'm going to tell you what those are. We're going to vote on them just the way we usually do. But let me just get caught up here quickly. Ohio looks good in mid-August. Yes, it does. Oh, I know what you're referring to there, Odie. Yes, it does look good. I'll be there. White Ash wants to know if Phil Rivera's ever made pool cues. John Amadon, CaneRod, yes, it does refer to bamboo fly rods. I actually used to make bamboo fly rods, John. Haven't in years. Don't know if I ever will again. But when I first started the YouTube channel, that was right on the top of my mind, and that's where the name came from. Haven't yet watched Oppenheimer, Kevin. I will. I want to see that. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. All right, I think I'm pretty much caught up. Couch is putting on his bike shorts. Good to see you, buddy. All right, so Phil has provided us with the following samples, and we will do these in numerical order, so you can vote. Wait until I get all three out, and then you can vote number 1, number 2, number 3. So number 1, Bosun cut plug. And these are in bags, but you've seen tobacco before. This is Bosun cut plug. Number 2, and this one I've been really looking forward to. Very, very rare and hard to get here in the States. This is Condor Long Cut. And the number 3 is not labeled here, but it's Peter Heinrich Reserve Grand Cru number 2. That's what Phil said. Yeah, you're just seeing, I could show you the same bag 3 times. It doesn't matter. The point is there's 3 different tobaccos here. So number 1, Bosun cut plug. Number 2, Condor Long Cut. And number 3, Peter Heinrich Reserve Grand Cru 2. So which of those should we be having this evening? Okay, we got a vote for number 2 from Michael Case, which is the Condor. Paul the Piper wants number 1, which is the Bosun. Another vote for the Condor. We got 3 votes for the Condor. 4 votes for the Condor, 2 votes for the Bosun, 3 votes for the Bosun. 4-3. Condor is discontinued now, so you can't even get it overseas, Andrew. Another vote for Condor. Another vote for Condor. Another vote for Condor. 1 more for Bosun. 2. Okay, it looks like we got a couple more. Couple coming in for number 3. Looks like the Condor is pretty much running away with it. And just so you know, this is the one that I'm most afraid of, so. Neil's voting for number 3 just so we don't want number 3 to feel bad. All right, so we're going to go with number 2. It certainly got the majority of the votes there, which is the Condor Long Cut, which is both the one I'm most afraid of and the one I was most interested in trying. So we'll see how this shakes out. Let me get my little tray here. I do think I'm going to need to rub this guy out. My Hillbilly Piper tray. And we'll unwrap us some Condor Long Cut. And let's see right off the bat what we... Oh. I'm smelling something more than just tobacco. But a lot of tobacco too. Definitely some topping there though. Really nice looking flakes. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm just, since I do not know what I'm getting into here, I'm going to go with 1 flake. And I've got a smallish pipe to try this in. And just rub this out. Normally when I'm smoking flakes like this, I just kind of ball them up and stuff them in, but I want to give this its best chance to burn right and make sure I'm able to actually taste the stuff. So sorry, I know you can't see anything right now, but there we go. So we got it rubbed out. And I've got a little basket billiard here, and this is not because I'm afraid of ghosting, because this is one of my favorite pipes actually. It's one I bought at JR Cigar a long time ago when I made the trip to Vermont and forgot to take my travel humidor with me. Actually, this pipe is responsible for getting me back into pipe smoking after my long detour into the world of cigars. Turp furnace is coming back on, so I'll just apologize in advance for that. And we got this loaded up. I'm just trying to get caught up on the comments here. Yeah, I hope Donnie can make it this year, Odie. Donnie's on here, I'm pretty certain. Be great to see him again. And yeah, these things are wonderful. He picked them up. He was on some island adventure, and they're just perfect for what I just used them for. Okay, I'm definitely getting a topping on this, but it's not unpleasant. It's not astringent. It's not like the aftershavey sort of stuff I was having last time, for lack of better words. I would say it's a bit perfumey, but it's very mellow, very smooth. And some good solid tobacco underneath it. Should tamp that. Bill, I think I can see why you like this. I'm going to give this a minute or two because I think it's probably topping heavy right now. Yeah, I see Phil saying it settles in. I'm Gary Edminster asking us to mash the like button, and yeah, I'd appreciate it if you guys did that. It just helps get the word out, helps build the community here. Flint Hill Briar is out looking for a place to camp in minus 15-degree Fahrenheit weather. Flint Hill, you're a man. Kevin Doolan switching to Pegasus. Lurker Troy, tastes like chicken or old buzzard. This is nice. This is not a tobacco you want to freight train, because I think this will bite. Did I say rub this guy out? I saw two references to that. Yeah, when we used to say rub this guy out back in the neighborhood, it meant something completely different, though. No, Phil, it is nicely balanced. I'm just saying if I puff this too hard, I think it could get hot. I didn't mean chemical bite, I meant heat. I think I could get this burning pretty hot if I puffed it the same way I puff Haunted Bookshop. But yeah, this is I get it though. So that topping, it was very prominent when I first lit, but it's there, but it's definitely in the background now. I did no research on this. I did that intentionally. But if I had to guess, I would say this is Virginia. I don't think there's much else in here. We're both in Nextville. Yornik says that horse meat is actually delicious. Ilva ate it. Oh, couch, that's gross. Poor Elba. Street food in Belgium. Yes, they do like their horse in Belgium. And Sicily, yep. I've been to both places and been threatened with horse meat and avoided it both times. She's my god dog, Couch. That doesn't count as long as you're still kicking. Lord Hogarth had some horse. I'm not against folks eating it. I just personally don't. I don't know. It's funny. There's certain things that I just don't want to eat. Spaghetti is popular in Colorado, says Lord Detroit. Well, there you go. Yes, I told you the story about going to the restaurant in Belgium that was famous for their French fries. I think I did. Michael Case is saying the Belgians like to make French fries in horse fat. Kendall cream is nice stuff, Couch. Yeah. And you bought a pound of it. There's some good examples, Phil. Dog and monkey. I just don't want to eat them. I mean, I don't want to eat cat either. And I don't know why, right? I mean, meat is meat, but sounds like a solid decision there, Chris. Horses are like dogs, they're your friends. Yes, and I've known horses that were smarter than some people I've known, so. Good point, Paul. I would put human on the list as well. I knew they had stuffed trigger. I didn't know about bullet, Doug, but could be. South Korea is banning dog meat. Well, that's okay, Lord Hogarth. You just go north of there, you can get anything. Oh, Paul. No, Paul. I didn't know you rode, Couch. And Ted's a great horse name. I have heard that, Yornik, that there is a special dog raised for food. The smooth piper would be scared of eating Mr. Ed. That's funny, Peter. So we went to this restaurant in Belgium. It was a work thing. I worked at a company where we had a collaboration with a group in Belgium, and every month I went there. Uh, and my boss was an obnoxious twit. And the Belgian contingent wanted to take us to this restaurant that was very famous for their fries. And the thing that was famous about them was they had a selection of different fats that the fries were prepared in. So there was duck fat, there was beef fat, there was pork fat, and of course there was horse fat because it was Belgian. And this guy is, I mean, he was not a nice man. And we go into the restaurant, and he's complaining bitterly about the fact that people would, eat horse and use horse, and it's disgusting, and everything else. And so we sit down, and we're looking at the menus and everything, and we place our orders, and the waiter comes out and puts as we're looking at menus, actually, he puts a large plate of French fries down on the table and tells us that they're on the house. So we're all hungry and stuff, and so we all start eating these French fries, and they're delicious. And so we place our orders, and we order fries for the table, like duck fat, and we're going to compare them all and stuff. And there was other food to go with it, but the fries were the draw for this restaurant. And we emptied this plate of complimentary fries that the waiter brought over for us. By the way, brought over for us after noting that this guy was mouthing off about eating horses. And it was just a beautiful moment because he comes over, and the obnoxious guy, as he's taking orders or whatever, says to him, excuse me, these were really delicious. What were they? And he just looks at him very seriously and says, "Oh, sir, those were the horse," and then moves on to the next thing. And it was just a beautiful moment because I watched this guy's face fall. I've never loved anyone more than I loved that waiter at that moment. Oh, creator, yes, the McDonald's horse meat. Actually, there was a story in the 80s, I think it was, that they were using kangaroo meat, which was bizarre because it doesn't seem like that would be a very economically reasonable thing to do. But a lot of people believe McDonald's was using kangaroo meat. Bill, this is fantastic. I really can see why you love this. And now I have to immediately start thinking about who I know in the UK. No, there was no W in it, Yornik. That would have been much worse. Yeah, Phil, I think that's a good point. I mean, you do need to sometimes do that, just not to offend. I was in Sicily staying I had a friend who was actually working for me. And when we went to Sicily, her family offered to put us up in their beach house for a week of a vacation in Sicily, my wife and I, which was wonderful of them to do. And they took us around, and they helped us tour a lot of really cool places, and we stayed rent free in their beach house, and it was a wonderful time. And they took us out to dinner, and they ordered a bunch of appetizers for us, and there were these little fritters that came around, and we were asking, what's this, and this fritter was actually one of the strangest things I've ever eaten. It was made of what's the word I'm looking for? Fish fry. So young, just born fish, just hatched fish. So little tiny fishlets. Still live, scooped up, mixed with batter, and deep fried. Revolting to our palate, when you think about it. But nevertheless, I was in the situation where I had to eat it, and it was delicious. I really thought it was a wonderful, wonderful flavor, and I'm glad I tried it. But given the opportunity to try it on my own, I never would have. But out of politeness, it was required that I do that. So it happens. Phil, you've never steered me wrong, and you haven't this time for sure. This is good stuff. Gazelle in a barbecue. Wow, Yornik, that sounds like an interesting thing. Benjamin, there's some folks in this country that eat chicken feet. Canned hash was made with horse meat when you were a kid. Really? Wow. That's interesting, Beowulf, Miss Kathy. There you go. Hillbilly Piper barbecue chicken feet. Wonderful stuff. Chitlins, pickled pig's feet, of course. Fingerlings. What are fingerlings, Phil? Sounds familiar. Paul, I don't know what you mean if you're talking about some specific goings on, but maybe you can send me an email later to explain. But thank you for the heads up. Beating eel heart and sake. Oh, yuck. Yuck indeed, Michael. We'll do the Boston next. Everybody okay with that? We're just going to work through these three over the next couple of weeks. So next week we'll do the Boston cut plug, and then the third week we'll do the Peter Heinrich. And then we'll go back to voting again. Yeah, Sir Zenith, they were surprisingly delicious. And you bit into this and you looked at the fritter, and there was, heads and tails and everything else, but yeah, quite a wonderful taste. A lot of folks saying they've had chicken feet and chicken foot soup. Patrick Grant weighing in on that. I don't think I've ever had that, to be sure. Never eat fish with water. It will swim in your stomach. Always have wine. There you go, Lord Hogarth. Those are words to live by. Those Italians are smart folk. Ah, fingerling small fish. Gotcha, Phil. The war. Okay, Paul. Creator's having some Coniston plug in his cob after some hot chili. Wow. Okay, I knew about the whole Yemen thing, Paul, and I didn't realize that there were issues with that. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that, but I'm glad that one of my best wrenches is out there, Paul. Toenails are toenails no matter how you prepare them, says Doug. Authentic bird's nest soup. Yeah, I've never had that, Phil, but I've always been curious about it. Hillbilly Piper. Hey, Donnie, are you going to go to the Columbus show this year? Odie wanted to know. I want to know, too. Yornik with another great Captain Black reference there. Ah, Doug, it's Condor Long Cut, courtesy of our buddy Phil Rivera. Cow brains. Oh, goodness, Brian. You don't want to eat that these days. All right, Donnie, we'll put you down as a definite then. No pressure. Oh, snails with, I've never had snails with bacon and butter and garlic, but my goodness, escargot with butter and garlic is an incredible thing. I had a friend that used to talk, he was from Ohio actually, and he used to talk about eating brains and eggs, and it was apparently pig brains that they would eat. And when I lived in Atlanta, there was this Indian restaurant I used to love to go to. Very, really good Indian food. Very authentic. Very seedy is probably not the right word, but a dive basically. A dive, and all the clientele were Indian. So, it was not the kind of place that somebody like me was expected to walk into. But I used to love going there, and on more than one occasion, I walked up to the counter and I ordered chicken curry. And the person on the other side of the counter looked at me and said, "Goat?" And I said, "No, not goat." I've had, goat in Indian restaurants before. I got a question about goat in Indian restaurants, by the way, and I said, "No, no, chicken." And he responded, "Goat brain?" And I think my response was something like, "Oh Lord, no." Uh, and they had on the menu goat brain. So I don't know if I had goat brain or not, because they seem to be confused about that more than once. Mashed potatoes with ants? Really, Paul? I don't know, Doug. Somebody said that the Condor long cut was discontinued, but don't know. J&D's Pipe Dreams. How you doing, my friends? Are you both there? Not touching Rocky Mountain oysters, Gary. I draw the line there. ENAS Dad, how you doing, buddy? Yes, Latakia will kill you. Curried goat soup. That sounds good, Phil. I like goat. I've had it quite a few times. But what I'm curious about, Phil, and I don't know if anybody can answer this question, is why is it when I go to Indian restaurants that have buffets and they have a goat curry, why is it always full of really tiny sharp bones? Do goats have an anatomy that I don't understand? The smooth Piper's finished his haunted bookshop and he's moving on to some Morley's Best and a Stanton. Good stuff there, Peter. Oh, Doug. Oh, that's a bad joke. Put some high octane gas in a snail's food dish and you should have seen that escargot. Oh my goodness. Tramper Scott, how you doing, buddy? Hog's brains scrambled with eggs and poke salad. Great breakfast with homemade biscuits. Sounds good, Beowulf and Miss Catholic. I would eat that. Hey, Andrew says that you can still get the Condor long cut in shops, but they're saying they can't reorder it. Phil, you better stock up. I like mutton. Is that what you mean there, Paul, or did you mean mouton? In which case, I'm confused. Because I'm not. Jason's a great pipe maker, but I'm not going to eat him. They cut the meat on the bandsaw. Goat is thin skin, said Phil. California Calibration says they cut the meat on a bandsaw. Yeah, they must just take the whole goat on the bandsaw and just cut it into little pieces without boning it first. Those aren't bones, those are the tin cans. There you go, Ian Anstead. Patrick's saying it's still available, was originally made in Ireland, and now it's made in Poland. Good deal, Scott. Good deal. Settle in gently there, my friend. Yeah, I like mutton. I went to New Zealand a while back, and mutton is big there, and I had some really good mutton dishes in New Zealand. Not as popular here in the US, and I don't know why. It's a good meat. Carried goat is a Jamaican thing, Patrick. Interesting. Peter likes it too. Yeah, I like carried goat. I enjoy it. I've heard the term long pigs, Bjornik. I've never heard hornless goats, but yeah. Patrick says mutton is popular in the Caribbean. So, speaking of unusual meats, well, not really, but I just want to get this fact out there because I found this fascinating. What country, no Googling, okay? What country has the most camels? And if the first answer is correct, I'm going to assume you Googled. Because I was really surprised by this. J&D Pipe Dreams YTPC is burning some red carpet in Mir. Nice. Chris Weber is guessing Mongolia. That would be incorrect, Chris. Saudi Arabia. Hillbilly Piper got it right. Australia. Good guesses. Africa. Well, Africa's not a country, and I asked that, but yeah. Saudi. Everett guessing Australia. Yeah. It is actually Australia. They were imported beginning in, I think it was 1820, maybe 1840, prior to the availability of motor vehicles. And they were used as a way to get around. And then people started importing trucks and cars to Australia, and they just set them free, and they became feral. And there are now I think there's over 1 million camels in Australia, and that is expected to double every 3 years. So it's an amazing number of camels. And interestingly, sorry, the furnace has come on again. They don't eat a lot of camel meat, but its popularity is increasing as the number of camels increases. Even with zoos, Doug, the U.S. doesn't even come close. Fried hedgehog is a traditional gypsy dish, says Yornik. That is a fun fact. I've never eaten a hedgehog, but I've used them for fly tying. Fantastic fly tying material on a hedgehog. So they were used for military use in Australia and the U.S. In the 1800s, says Phil. That makes sense. Blundstone boots are made out of camel leather, says Everett. Pretty cool. He nailed that, thought I meant the cigarette. That's good. Yeah, exactly like the wild Mustangs, Michael. Ron Hardcrackers has got Boswell Countryside and a Sussex Square Prince with a bottle of Shire Hill Country Peach Wheat. Wow. That does sound tasty there, Ron. Korean silkworm chrysalis. That's interesting, Phil. Creators asking about raccoon, muskrat, or possum. All quite edible. Yeah, Paul, this show is not good for those that might be dieting. So, Dirt Cake Imperial Stout is good stuff. It goes down really easy. And I was thinking it might be a little high on the ABV scale there, and it is. 10.5%. $15 and 0 with the wind chill. That is cold there, J&D. Sir Zenith is having a Cuban Ramon Alanes cigar, some bourbon. Very nice. I had a cigar yesterday. I didn't tell you what happened to me yesterday. Phil had armadillo in Vietnam. Everyone got food poisoning but Phil. Oh, yeah. Ginger would definitely hide the shelf life for sure. You know, armadillos are the only non-human animal that gets leprosy. And why do I know that? I don't know. It's one of those facts. Facts that get stuck in your head. Thank you, Michael. I will tell. So yesterday I had to get a stress test. And nothing wrong, just my doctor wanted to be thorough and thought it was about time that I get a stress test. So now I have bad knees, and I had actually thrown my back out on Monday. So I was in pretty bad shape yesterday. I'm much better today. I went to the chiropractor last night, and he did something, and my back is much, much better today. But yesterday I had trouble walking. And I got to do a stress test, and I'm thinking, oh man, I got to run on this treadmill. Now my doctor told me when I said, I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do this with my knees. He said, oh, don't worry about it. If it's a problem, they can do they can give you a drug that drives your heart rate up, so you don't have to run on the treadmill. And I thought, man, that is terrifying. I do not want that. I just can't imagine sitting there and having my heart racing because they inject me with a drug. I just didn't want to do that. And the whole time I'm worried because I'm thinking, I'm going to have to run, and if I can't run, they're going to do this to me. And I don't want them to do it to me, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to run. And so I didn't sleep well on Wednesday night, and I got to get there at 7:30 because I always take the earliest appointment, because if you take the later appointments, they get backed up and you wind up waiting. Stuff. So I go in and got there on time, very efficient. The hospital I go to is great. They really did a great job, and it's a 3-part test. You get injected with a tracer, and then you get imaged. You have to drink some. Oh, so you're not allowed to eat or drink anything for 12 hours prior. The eating's not a problem because I don't eat between 8 o'clock at night and 12 o'clock the next day. It's an intermittent fasting thing that I've been doing for years. So I had no problem with the eating, but the drinking was hard because I do drink a lot of water. So I was really thirsty. So they give me this injection, and then I have to drink ice water because apparently it flushes the tracer out of your GI system and gives them better images. So that was great. I got to drink water, and I was really happy about that. And then they take images, and then you have to wait 20 minutes, and then you go into the room where you're going to do the exercise. And they say, okay, we're going to inject you with this drug. And I said, wait a minute, I thought I was going to do the treadmill. And they said, no, your doctor ordered this version of the test. We're not allowed to have you run on the treadmill. You have to get this. I didn't know that. So this whole time I've been worried about what I was going to do, and it was already decided for me, which just set my terror level through the roof. It turned out it was not bad at all. I see Pipe Time is saying they've done it as strange but not bad. Yeah, it was very strange. It was a weird feeling, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Not at all. Not pleasant, but not horrible, and it only lasted for 2 minutes. And the interesting thing about it was they inject me, and the exercise physiologist is there who's actually monitoring the EKG. And he says, okay, you should start to feel it coming on. And yep, sure enough. And he said, it's only going to last 2 minutes. Just hang in there. And then he said, okay, it should stop in 20 seconds. And there's a clock on the wall. And I see, I'm watching the minute hand go around. And unbelievably, at exactly 20 seconds, this feeling just went away. It was incredible how well timed this was. So that happened, and then they asked me if I want to drink. I have to drink a soda, and I don't drink soda. I occasionally have ginger ale, but I haven't had a Coke in like 15 years. I don't like it. And the nurse says, do you want a Coke or a Diet Coke? And I said, well, I don't want either. Can I have something else? And she said, no, they only give us Coke or Diet Coke, so you have to pick one. And I hadn't had any caffeine. I didn't have a lot of sleep. I was in a slightly snarky mood. And I said, well, look, my blood sugar's low. You just dropped my blood pressure, which is why they want to give me some caffeine. I think if I don't get some sugar in me, I'm probably going to go into a full-blown panic attack in the next half hour or so. What do you think I want? And she laughed and said, okay. And I said, well, why do you even offer the Diet Coke? And her answer, and it made me laugh. She just very seriously said, well, some people are on diets. Yeah. So anyway, I drank the Coke. I didn't enjoy it, but I drank it. And yeah, it was fine. You could get a headache if you didn't get the caffeine, but it was fine. And then they imaged me again, and I was on my way home. So it was an interesting experience. So got that done. Got the results back later that day. Surprisingly, they've got these patient portals now, which are probably dangerous because you get to see the results before your doctor probably does. But I'm good to go. No, nothing abnormal. I'm completely normal, at least in terms of cardiac function. So that was nice. And it was all my wife's fault. She keeps telling me about the Widowmaker. which is some artery in the heart that they can't detect with normal. You have to do the stress test to be able to detect there's any issues with this. And I thought she was nuts, and so she kept saying, talk to your doctor about that. So I saw the doctor back in October, and I said, you know, my wife keeps going on about this. That's not a thing, is it? And he said, oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. So we should get you a stress test. So it was all my wife's fault. Yeah, Doug, I do believe that armadillo leprosy thing is true. Chiropractors are also good at moving pianos, says Lord Hogarth. Yes, CNAS Dad, Ginger is... No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Marianne is definitely greater than Ginger. Yeah, I know, Phil. I've heard good and bad about chiropractors. I gotta tell you, for years, most of my life, thought that chiropractors were just a bunch of quacks that did more harm than good. Uh, but I saw one in desperation a few years ago, and I told them, I said, I don't believe anything you do, but I'm desperate. And they laughed and they said, well, you know, we tried to take a scientific approach, and they suggested a book that I could read, and I started doing research on it and stuff. And I go at it carefully. You know, I don't go crazy with it. I know what they're doing, and I know when I need it, and it's been okay for me. But I can't say that everybody should just let them do whatever, and not all chiropractors are good. Yeah, Kevin, if you're a runner, you're doing the stress test quite regularly. Of course, the diagnostic there is not so good, right? Dan Robertson, you've been losing them, and you've been losing those same pounds, haven't you? Good to see you, Dan. And yet Ginger is the only one alive. Good point, Hillbilly Piper. Good point. So these days, I guess Ginger wins, right? Paul, I'm waiting to be able to see the rest of your comment because there's a heart on my screen, which I think is the heart you press to leave a heart, but I don't know why it's on my screen because I'm not going to leave a heart for myself. And I can't read what's behind it. So somebody else say something so I can read Paul's comment because I think it's funny. I think we've gotten to the end of the oh my goodness, we've gotten to the end of the show. It's already yeah, we're nothing but white ash here. Fantastic stuff, Phil. Thank you. You have not led me astray for sure. That was smoked straight down to ash. Good stuff. Well, folks, I still have this much to go, which is a good thing given it's 10.5%. Okay, I see a YouTube video where you can. I thought that's what you were saying, Paul. Paul says he saw a YouTube video where you can take your heart out and check it and then stick it back in with super glue. Paul, I wouldn't follow those instructions. Kevin Doolin, thank you for joining us, buddy. You have a great weekend. And yes, it's milk day this Monday, so if you get that off, fantastic. I've been interested in acupuncture, Phil. I actually the chiropractor I go to is an acupuncturist as well. That's one of the things I like about this group is that they are very holistic in their approach, and they don't overdo it. They're not just chiropractors. They have studied acupuncture. One of them is into Chinese medicine. They functional medicine. It's much more about whole body function and getting everything to work in harmony. I know I'm sounding kind of new agey here, but as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate that. And there's a really interesting dichotomy between Eastern and Western medicine where we focus heavily on the treatment of symptoms, whereas in the East, it's more approach they take, and I don't think they're overdoing it in the adjustments. I'm gonna reload the Friday Sabanelli with some Haunted Bookshop. Yep, Jim PM is saying the Chinese are quite wise on the energy of the body, and I think you're right. Oh, Phil, I did enjoy it, and if it's anything, if the other two are anything like that, I'm going to love them. So thank you so much, my friend. And Palmer School sounds very familiar to me. Was Palmer the guy that invented chiropractic? I could be wrong about that, but I'm seeing several. Michael Case has mentioned it, and I see Codger Jim's mentioning it now. Dan Robertson, I have not heard of the Ring Dinger. Piper on the 45. Thank you for joining us, buddy. It's always great to see you. Hope you have a great weekend. We're going to hang out until I finish this ridiculously high alcohol content beer. Paul the Piper. His little French bulldog has run off with his pipe. That's the problem with the French. Oh, with the pipe sock. Okay. You were behind the heart again, Paul. I'm afraid to Google it, Dan, but I will later. Timber Drifter. Sorry you missed so much, but it's good to see you, buddy. Glad you could stop in and say good evening. Palmer was the guy that invented half iced tea and half lemonade. Good one, Doug. Well, you got to be careful with anybody giving medical advice on YouTube, Phil. I was thinking the same thing, Doug, but it turns out the French Bulldog just took the pipe sock. So not too bad. All right, Yornik. Go warm her up, my friend. Have a great weekend. No, Phil, I finished the Condor. It was fantastic. Went straight down to Ash. And I'm now back to Haunted Bookshop. Maui, how you doing, buddy? Feeling much better. Much better. Maui's asking about the back. Yeah, it's I'm at like 95% right now. It feels like that, does. But I'll sleep well tonight. Yeah, Dan, the problem is you can get people to swear by just about anything. Oh, this has been quite a wild ride tonight. We do tend to talk about food a lot, don't we? There you go, Phil. Or Phil, as we now know, vodka can fix just about anything. Ah, yes, Chris. Cloud Bear makes some really nice blends. I hope you enjoy that. I just haven't had the time to really follow what he's releasing these days, but Misty Mountain sounds interesting. All right, Paul the Piper. Oh, that's the beer speaking. Thank you so much, buddy. It was great seeing you tonight, and I really appreciate what you do for us. You have a great morning and good weekend. Ear candles. That's interesting, Flint Hillbriar. And we'll just leave it at that. Fat Tuesday is 6 weeks away, Michael. It's coming at us like a freight train. I was surprised at how early Easter is this year. Backcountry Pipes. Just back from a work trip in northern Quebec. Well, I'm glad you can listen in, Mark. Good to see you, my friend. Doug, you're absolutely right. Escargot is just a delivery system for garlic and butter. Absolutely. But it's delicious. So I'll talk in more detail on Sunday about the Condor long cut. But that was wonderful. I'm really looking forward to the bosun now. I never thought I would say that, Phil. So you've opened my eyes. Hoxie. Not familiar with that, Jim PM, but I know there's a lot of traditions around different forms of donuts and pastries and stuff for Fat Tuesday. All right, Phil, you have a good night, my friend. And yes, those are the three choices. Punchki. Gotcha, Jim. Never would have guessed that it was pronounced Punchki, but Yeah, Timber Drifter, I think that's the choice I'm going to try to take. I'll fail miserably at it, but I can try, right? Have to go back to work early because of that, Maui. Ah, hadn't thought of that. John Abaddon, thank you so much for joining us, buddy. Hope we see you again, my friend. And Hillbilly Piper, Donnie, thank you so much for joining us. We'll probably go another 10 minutes or so. Well, maybe not. Got that much to get through. And I'm starting to feel it, so we don't want to go too much longer. Unless you want to see me get silly, which nobody wants to see. Oh, the furnace is coming on. That's always a nice way to end the evening. So we'll let that run its course, and then I'll draw this to a close after the furnace. So I'm really excited about going to the Midwestern Tool Collectors Association meeting. It's not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, the 20-something. Oh, Phil, be careful, buddy. I don't want you to run out of it, especially if there's a chance that it's out of production now. But it's delicious stuff, so. Timber Drifter's going to stick around for silly me with a furnace. All right. Home is going to a cigar bar in Boston tomorrow. Cool. Yeah, Sir Zenith, that's the scary part. I know myself well enough and how alcohol affects me to know that I'm about 20 minutes away from thinking I can dance. So we got to be careful. It's that time of year, backcountry pipe. The furnace is gonna do what it's gonna do. Because as long as the missus is upstairs, I'm not gonna let her freeze. Ah, thank you, J&D's Pipe Dreams. Great to see you, my friend. Wish you all the best for the weekend. Smooth Piper Peter, you have a great weekend too, brother. Great seeing you, my friend. Pipe time has got 20 minutes. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll fill up some of that pipe time. Probably not the full 20 minutes. Jim PM, I kind of remember it as I can't dance, I can't dance, but maybe. You got the same stopping point, Timber Drifter, yeah. Yeah, Flint Hill, that's unfortunate. Phil can dance. Phil, I thought you left. You come back for the dancing? Good night, Paul. Take care, my friend. So now that a lot of folks have left, I'll tell you the ridiculous thing that we signed up for. Billy Piper, I thought you left too. Too many folks are hanging out for the dancing. This is concerning me. All right, Michael Case, I will see you on Sunday for sure, my friend. Thank you for joining us. So my wife and I have been looking for fun things to do, different things to do. We've become very, I don't know, I'm the kind of guy that likes being in a rut, so I've got no issue at all with our lifestyle right now, but she's not. She's a people person. She likes being out there and talking to people and stuff, and me, this is about as social as I get. But something came up in her My Face thing or something that there's a, oh God, I'm going to regret saying this. There's a steampunk festival in late February in the area. And we're going. And she's talking about costumes, which is not going to happen. I told her I'm not going to wear a costume. But she's excited about this. I know nothing about it. I have no idea what to expect. Yeah, there'll definitely be some video and photos of this. It'll have to get documented for YouTube. Phil's favorite memory of the early 70s on the back of his big brother's motorcycle. Cool. '70s were an interesting time. I remember bike riding and fishing with my grandfather. Those are probably some of my earliest, my happiest '70s memories. Yeah, Phil, exactly like the Uncle Jack interviews. Those were wonderful. You guys don't know, Phil's Uncle Jack was a incredible man. Scott, that's the way I look at it. You know, she said to me, should we really do this? And I said, look, we're either going to have a ball and want to go to the next one, or we're going to have some fantastic stories to tell. Either way, we win. But what I love about it is that, you know, I could drag her to a pipe show, which I will do someday. We've been talking about maybe going to Muletown. Or she could drag me to one of her Hallmark things, God forbid. But this is something that neither of us know anything about. And because of that, I think it'll be a really interesting experience. You know, Timber Drifter, there's some folks that don't remember the '70s at all for completely different reasons. Josh Langevin, hey yo, indeed. Well, we're going way late. Okay, well, such is life. We're getting there. Not only is this 10 point. Patrick Grant, you have a great weekend, buddy. It's great seeing you. All's good here, Josh. We hope all's good with you, my friend. How's the weather in your northernly parts up there? I'll get the weather report from my brother on Sunday. Yeah, nobody needed to think about that timber drifter. Yeah, Phil, we never realize what folks are going to find interesting, but I think back to some of John's videos where he, just talked about his work history. And when he posted that first video, I thought, why am I going to want to watch this? But they were fascinating. I think we're all interested in just what human beings go through in this life. Everybody's story is different. And, it doesn't have to be a great heroic story. It doesn't have to be a celebrity story or something like that. Just normal people living their lives is interesting. Bad windstorm. Oh boy, Josh, that's not good. 70 miles per hour. My goodness. Well, take care and stay warm, buddy. The occasional Clay Piper, just making it in, huh? That's okay. We got a few more minutes to go, buddy. And I appreciate watching the replay. Yeah, John was a natural-born storyteller, and I wish I had half of the talent that man had. I wish I had 10% of the talent that man had to tell stories. Because I've got them and I try to tell them, but it seems like it takes me 3 minutes to tell a story that he would tell in 15 minutes, and you'd be hanging on every word. And I just tell it like it's this telegraphic sentence that nobody cares about. Yeah, Phil, I think you're right. I think if it doesn't come across in a 30-second Instagram short or YouTube short, nobody cares about it anymore. Good night, Dan Robertson. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Your weather's normal for this time of year, Timber Drifter? We're apparently getting more normal. We've been unseasonably warm. But this Tuesday, it's supposedly going to turn around quite a bit. All right, well, I've finished this Bowl of Haunted Bookshop in what seems like record time. And we are at the point where we can finish this up. So we shall do so, and we shall draw this to a close. So I want to thank you folks for joining me, for hanging out to the bitter end here, because I know we went, we've gone almost a half an hour over at this point. I blame the Dirt Cake Imperial Stout. But it's been great spending time with you, as always. Fantastic Friday night, high point of my week. And it was so good to see you all. So you all take care. Let me finish this up. Have a fantastic weekend. And I will be back on Sunday with a video as